Maybe we could edit that part out.
Yeah, we'll edit that
Hi, Mariah.
out. Hi.
Hey.
Hey.
Hey. Okay, so a lot of times people ask us questions because we are, between the two of us, I feel like we have almost 50 years.
No. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Between the two of us, we have 50 years of experience shooting
Oh.
weddings. Yeah, no, that's real, girl.
Oh, bye.
And you're old. Even though I'm older than you.
I'm
You're really old.
experienced. I'm experienced.
So anyway, we thought it would be fun to answer some questions. Ask the snappers, as
Ask
it were.
the snappers.
So, because there's lots of moving parts to a wedding, and most people have never had a wedding. So we have been to 1,000 weddings, but most people haven't, so they don't know. So
Right.
we feel that we're in a position to be giving advice. Plus, we love to give our opinions about things.
I happen to be a pretty good advice giver, too.
You're the best advice giver ever.
Yeah.
You've saved my marriage. It's true. It's really true.
Talked her off the ledge a few times. So if you're having marital problems at all,
You're
Right
very,
in, right
you're,
in.
You're
Yeah.
very good with the advice.
Oh.
And then I hear you giving advice to your kids, and I was like, oh, they're so lucky
oh, thanks, Trish.
because they're getting such like stellar advice at such
Right.
young ages.
Well, let's bestow this gift on the world.
Okay, let's do it.
Go ahead. What's our first letter?
Okay, so our first letter is from Worried in Westerly.
Oh, worried.
She says, Dear Snappers, my mom has requested that we do big family photos with all my aunts and uncles and cousins. When and how should we do that at the wedding? The problem is I don't want to take away from all the fun.
Well, this is a loaded question because Trish and I have had many discussions about this over the years, and I get really bent out of shape when we have to do the extended family pictures because I always feel like it's torturing.
Well, here's the dilemma. The wedding is a momentous event for the family.
Mm-hmm.
It's the one time all the people are going to be together, and you want to document your whole family together, especially if there's an older grandparent, and it's like the cousins and the grandkids. You want to have that documentation of the people because it's a really important day, and it's a traditional thing to do to document the family.
That said, it's a fleeting day, which goes
That
by
being
really
said,
fast.
it's way trickier than it sounds. The problem is that if you have 25 people in a family group, you have to get those 25 people over to the designated photo location. And what we have been noticing lately is brides having these horrific expressions of disdain and despair on their faces.
How about the last wedding we did where I looked out at the bride and she was doing this.
Yeah, it was really bad.
And then I looked over at you and I was like, see?
I know. Well, see, the thing is, I always want to do the photos because I feel like it's important.
Right.
You don't want to do it because you know that it's a nightmare.
I don't want to do it because I feel like
Now,
it's hurting the
There's been many
bride.
times where the bride has looked like she wanted to cry and or run away, or has said, I'm going to cry and run away. Or has run away and cried.
I don't know about the crying, but there's definitely been running away.
So it's a dilemma. Now, I think how it can work if it's really important to you, because it's not important to everybody. So for people who it's not super important to, I
Bag
say
it if you do not care.
don't bother.
Bag it. Right.
And whatever. Just get the pictures you absolutely want. If it's not important enough for you to put it in your album, then don't even bother doing it because it does take time away. If it is important to you, then you just have to sort of make the accommodations. You could do it during the cocktail hour. If all your photos are done beforehand, then there would be time during the cocktail hour. But I think what you need to do is have a designated loudmouth aunt. That's the key right there, is to have somebody else organize everybody, and then the bride and groom come over last minute, pop into the photo, snap it, and then they can scoot out, they can talk to people, whatever. It's not them, the bride and groom standing there waiting for people to come, and it's like, where's Uncle Joe? And then it's like, Uncle Joe, come. And then he's like, what? Oh, I'm gonna have a cocktail. And oh boy. So if the bride is not being distressed by standing and waiting for people, it can be okay if everybody else gets together. When it gets tricky again is when you're going to do mom's two sides of the, the bride's two sides of the family, her mom, her dad, and the same thing for the groom. So if you have 4 extended families, then there's waiting around. And if people are not cooperative, and they don't mean to be, I don't think people are purposely being uncooperative. They're havhaving fun. They're having a cocktail. They're having an hors d'oeuvre.
People don't understand that the time is ticking.
They have no concept of it whatsoever.
Concept, yeah.
They just are like, I'm having fun at your wedding. This is great.
Right.
You look beautiful. And the brides are like, just get over here for the photo. It's terrible. I feel so bad. So it is a dilemma. So I guess the bottom line is, the couple, the bride and groom, the bride and bride, the groom and groom, whoever, have to decide if it's really important and you're willing to take the time away, and if you have a family that you think can get it together in a reasonable way.
Right, but if you know that you have a bunch of yahoos, then you might want to think about scrapping it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, a lot of times we've gone through the trouble to do the photo, and it's like, here's this great group photo, and then sometimes people don't even put it in the album.
That's not allowed.
Which I don't understand what the point of that is.
Maybe they're so traumatized by the event that
Well,
they
that's
can't
the
stand to
other
look at the
thing.
picture.
Right. They probably look at it and they're like, oh, that's when I was like,
That was the
wanted
worst
to cry
part
and
of
run
my
away.
wedding. Yeah.
It's been a few times where it's been really upsetting to see brides really unhappy.
Yeah.
And they're like, I hate this.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, God. And then we feel like we're inflicting it on them. And
Right.
we're just doing what they asked us to do.
Right. That said, if we look over at you and you look really distressed, we'll shut that down. We'll shut it down.
Yeah.
We'll say, are you done? And just nod and
Yeah.
we'll just shut it right down.
So Ward and Westerly, you're just going to have to decide if you think your family can handle it, if you can handle it, if you have the time to do it. So either the cocktail hour is when you would do it, or in between dinner finishing and cake cutting. There's sometimes a little lull as people are finishing dinner, they're clearing plates. Maybe the band is finishing eating, so there's like this kind of like people are going to the ladies' room, whatever.
I think you just have to wrap your brain around it and the understanding that it is not going to be fun. That 5, 10, 15 minutes that it takes to do them is not
Right.
fun. It's not fun. And if you are just accept it and say, well, I'm just going to do this because I want it and I know it's not going to be fun, then maybe it won't be so painful.
Right. There you go. And prep your people beforehand.
Prep.
Yeah, threats.
Get your loudmouth on it. Everyone's got
Yeah.
one.
Everyone does have one, and they get things done.
Yeah, they do.
So,
All right. Good
anyway,
luck.
thanks Ward and Westerly for writing in. We hope we helped.
If anybody else has questions, you can hit us up on the website on the contact page, or you can email us directly at mariah@snappereye.com or trish@snappereye.com.
No question is wrong.
No, there's no dumb question.
No. And we'll give you the right answers.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.